Welcome to Tatyova Bird Show. Hope you're excited. Started opening hand goes. We have one, two. Yeah, I love this. We're going to keep on this one. We've got some good ramp in the hand. We have Felwar Stone. We have 4 lands on the battlefield. I mean, not on the battlefield. That'd be pretty cool if we did on turn 1, especially on our opponent's turn. We have 4 lands in the hand, I should say. And we have at least 1 owl in our hand to kind of represent some bird tribal to our opponent. Let them know what's up. I like it. Let's go and lead off with Lumbering Falls. That sounds good. And then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. We're playing Tatyova Birds. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and draw a card. Okay, and our opponent's going to get down the frontier and then go and pass the turn to us. Let's go and grab the... Sorry about that one. My phone, I didn't realize my phone, I didn't put it on vibrate, and it kind of went off, so I had to go grab it real quick and turn it off. Let's go and get down Wooded Foothills. Let's go and go for Felwar Stone. I like going for that one, and then I'll kind of restart over covering our commanders, because it kind of threw me out of the loop. So let's go and grab this one. Let's go and go for Tropical Island. Let's go and go for Felwar Stone. That's going to be green. Let's go and get that one down, and then we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. We're playing Tatyova, the official commander of the bird show. I don't know. I'm trying to think of a fun deck name for it. I just put birds, lots of birds as far as the thumbnail goes. So that's kind of, that's just kind of at that point I was like, that'll work. But whenever a lane enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 1 life and you draw a card. Now, why are we using Tatyova as a bird commander? I just wanted to highlight that having a commander that just gets you a ton of card draw can really just enable you to do just all sorts of silly things. As you can tell, we were running some bird tribal today. And Tatyova is really happy. She likes to do some bird watching. We're playing against the Dragon. Imminence. As long as the Dragon is in the command zone or on the battlefield, other dragon spells you cast cost 1 less to cast, flying. And then whenever 1 or more dragons you control attack, draw that many cards, then you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Drawn to Coastal Piracy. So we're looking at Worn Power Stone. That'll definitely allow us next turn to get down Tatyova, which I really do like. Let's go and get down Yavimaya Coast. Let's go and go for Worn Power Stone. That's going to be Felwar Stone, Yavimaya Coast, and then tap out. Don't want to tap out for 1 more. Get that Worn Power Stone down, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. But yeah, as far as the deck goes, if you didn't see the deck tech, what are we doing? We're looking to get as many birds on the battlefield. Once we get down Tatyova, we start making our land drops, so we're going to be getting a lot of card draw. A lot of these birds, we're looking at converted mana cost 2 to 3s. Going to be a pretty good average. I think we're running about 31 birds in the deck, and so get all these birds on the battlefield. Use something good like Distant Melody to get some good. We're running 31 birds in here. Typically, we're going to end up in the neighborhood of around 5 to 8 to 10 birds on the battlefield by the time the game is getting close to the end. So typically, if you have Distant Melody, it's going to give you some really good card draw. And at the same time, let's say that we just get down 1 Owl Familiar. You just enter the battlefield, draw a card. This is some good card advantage, but at the same time, we're running stuff like Coastal Piracy and Biting of Thassa. So whenever a creature we control deals combat damage to an opponent, we're going to be able to draw a card. So it's another good way for us to kind of keep that card draw flowing. And at the same time, we're just digging to find an answer to give us a win condition. That's going to be, we have 3 cards that allow us to win. One is Biomass Mutation. We end up with a lot of mana. We can make all of our birds XX creatures at instant speed, which is always a lot of fun. We also have, what is it? There's Overwhelming Stampede, and then there's Overrun. So Overwhelming Stampede, I think, I'm getting mixed up, but basically they're 5 mana, and then one of them allows all of your creatures to get +X, where X is the power that we have on the battlefield, or the biggest power we have. And then there we go. Just talked it up. I love talking up cards. It's just silly how that happens sometimes. I like it. Let's go and tap out for Tatyova. That's going to be 1-2. It's like I'm doing something right. Like the magic gods just kind of toss me give me a high five every once in a while. Let's go and tap out on Yavimaya Coast. Let's get Tatyova down. And we purposely held on to this fetch land because it didn't care. It's not 1 land drop per turn. It's every land drop. So entering basically the landfall, draw card. So in response to that landfall, that Tatyova trigger on the stack, let's go and grab Breeding Pool. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and shock this one in. Yeah, let's put us down to 26. That's okay. We're going to draw an additional card. We're going to gain a life, draw into Arcane Denial, and then let's see, we draw into Temple of Mystery. Now, at this point right now, we can go for Owl Familiar, or we can go for Arcane Denial. Our opponent's getting the sweet spots where they're going to be able to get some dragons down. Let's pass the turn. I think I like that. I think if we're going to, the debate is between Arcane Denial and Owl Familiar. I'd rather leave up Arcane Denial to stop something than just simply just go for Owl Familiar to draw a card and then discard a card. Even though he does look like a pretty cool owl. He's one of my favorite owls in here. And that's one of the fun things about building these tribal decks is that you get to find some of these old bird cards, and they're just kind of funny looking, you know, just like, it's just funny that this is a magic card, that it's just a bird on a, just a bird on a stick, but you get some overwhelming stampede effects out there, and you are good to go. All right, so our opponent is going to be tapping out for some sort of dragon. Probably end up going for Arcane Denial, simply because we want to keep this off the battlefield. The good thing is they're not going to be able to, they have no creature cards in the graveyard, but if we do counter the creature spell, it will put it into the graveyard, so Taneb will be online. But thankfully, with a lot of flying creatures, Solemgar, the Drifting Death, that's actually not really good for us. Let's go and go for Arcane Denial on that one. And the game plan is, hopefully, if we can get some really good card draw going, we can get these cards down, keep drawing cards. As long as we can just have a flyer to stop Taneb from reanimating Solemgar, that's going to be okay for us. But a lot of these birds are 1/1s or something like that, so getting them -1/-1 each turn is not going to be that good for us. So we're going to take the hit right now, and that will put us down to 22. They can pay 3 mana, but they have no mana to pay for, and then they're going to go and pass the turn to us. Okay, so we're going to draw into an additional card off Arcane Denial, draw into Island. They're going to be able to draw 2 cards. Let's see what we draw into. As far as the turn goes, if we draw into a fetch land or something like, we do have Evolving Wilds in here that actually works really well, because you get that down, crack in response, and get that land on the battlefield. Kind of nets you an additional card draw too, simply off making 1 land drop. But let's see what we draw into. Draw into, ooh, Coat of Arms. Okay, we just need the birds to come now. Do we want to go for Temple of Mystery? Yeah, let's go and go for that. Let's go Temple of Mystery. Let's go and get the Scry going. Let's get the Tatyova on trigger on the stack first, and we'll get the Scry Artificer's Assistant. Yeah, if we're going for Coat of Arms, we just need to get a lot of creatures on the battlefield. So we'll go ahead and leave that on top of our library. That way we can go and draw into that one. Let's go ahead and get down Artificer's Assistant. That's going to be 1 blue mana. And let's go ahead and go for, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can actually go for Coastal Piracy and Owl Familiar. And let's do this. Let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go for Owl Familiar. Draw a card, then discard a card. Spire Owl, okay. Let's go ahead and discard at this point right now. I like holding on to Distant Melody. That's going to be really good for us, and I like holding on that too. Let's go and get rid of the island at this point. And then let's go and go for Coastal Piracy. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's go for Coastal Piracy. It's going to allow us to draw an additional card off Tatyova. And that's going to be the name of the game on this one, is just outdrawing our opponent. So let's go and swing in for 3. That's going to knock our opponent down to 27. That's going to be 3 total commander damage. And yes, we're going to use that ability. Always want to draw a card. Ooh, Sword of Feast and Famine. That is wonderful. So basically with Sword of Feast and Famine, what we're going to be able to do is get down Sword of Feast and Famine, put it onto one of our birds, and that's going to be able to stop Taneb from swinging across. Scion Dragon's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. This is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they're about two mana away from getting that going. So we'll kind of see what's happening. Let's go and send the Owl Familiar to block on this Taneb the Harvester. Like I said, Solemgar out of the graveyard is really not going to be that good for us, so I'll definitely make that trade all day. And with that Sword of Feast and Famine, it's going to allow us to get into some extra shenanigans, and then simply just, you know, even if we have to go for a Distant Melody, like drawing a couple cards or something like that, that'd be pretty good for us. So let's see what else they tap out for. One thing that would not be good is the Thundermaw Hellkite, where it deals 1 damage to each creature with flying. That would that'd be some fried chicken right there. As all of our birds fall out of the air onto the ground. See what our opponent's going to be tapping out for. Okay, opponent's going to tap out for Dragon Speaker Shaman. Dragon spells you cast cost 2 less to cast. So that will reduce the cost off the Ur Dragon. That's going to be 1, 2. That will be 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yeah. They'll actually be online for the Ur Dragon next turn. Then that's going to be them completely tapping out. And then I do like that if that's all they're going to do this turn is get down Dragon Speaker, I feel pretty good about that one. And the only thing is we just need to get our bird count up. One of the fun things about running some of these birds in Tatyova is that you have a lot of these birds that kind of manipulate the top card of your library in some form or fashion. So if Spire Owl enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library. Yeah, sure, go for that. Excuse me, whenever Spire Owl enters the battlefield, look at the top 4 cards of your library, put them back in any order. So with Tatyova, you can have that enter the battlefield, kind of manipulate the top part, make the land drop, draw that card. You can crack your fetch to kind of get rid of it. You know, there's just a lot of things that you can do. And in fact, let's go and do that now. Let's go and go for Spire Owl. That's going to be blue, and we're going to tap out on Fillmore Stone. Look at the top 4 cards. That way we can make the land drop and draw into whatever we want. All right, so we're looking at Kodama's Reach, Crucible of Worlds, Harrow. With Kodama's Harrow, actually, that's going to net us a few extra lands on the battlefield. I think I kind of like going for that one. Do we need to make sure we have enough mana to go for the Sword of Feast and Famine, too? It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Let's go and do this. Let's go for Kodama's Reach. Let's go for River. Let's go for Crucible of Worlds, and let's go and go for Harrow. Yeah, I like that. Let's go and get the land down for the turn. We're gonna need additional card draw for that one. Let's go and get down the Sword of Feast and Famine. That's gonna be 1, 2, 3. We're gonna get the additional Scry. That's gonna, I think it's River on top and a Crucible of Worlds. Do we need that at this point right now? Pluto Delta, Wooded Foothills. Yeah, we need to dig a little bit deeper into some of our. We need to get more birds on the battlefield, actually. So let's go and get down the Sword of Feast and Famine. Let's go and go for Artificer's Assistant. That's going to be 1, 2. Let's get that on there. And then at this point right now, let's go and push in with the whole crew. We got Tatyova swinging across, and we also have Artificer's Assistant. That's going to deal that damage up top and then make them discard a card. Okay, let's go ahead and get the Sword of Feast and Famine trigger on the stack. That's going to be Coastal Piracy. Yes, we're going to use that ability. Draw into River. Yes, we're going to use that ability. Yeah, actually, we could have sequenced that turn just a little bit better to where we could have gotten down River with that last 2 mana. So sorry about stacking it that way. But, well, actually, no, excuse me. We need to get down Sword of Feast and Famine. Otherwise, we don't get this going. So sometimes it's hard to, when you're giving commentary, library manipulation, it's hard to kind of keep that, the correct sequencing correct in your head. All right, so now that we have Harrow on the battlefield, let's do this. Let's go ahead and go for Sword of Feast and Famine onto Spire Owl. And then, like I said, we really need to get some good birds going. So let's go down River. If we go for Harrow, into the battlefield, that's going to be 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we can still actually go and tap out for that one. So it's going to be green. Tap out for Breeding Pool. Let's go and sacrifice the basic forest. Let's go and grab Island. Let's go and grab another forest. So it's going to be 2 additional card draw for that one. And we're going to be able to shuffle our library just a little bit better. Draw into Thieving Magpie. And then let's go ahead and go for River Hopi. That's going to be 1, 2. Get that down, and then anything else, we're going to go and pass turn to our opponent. So we do have Sword of Feast and Famine on Spire Owl. That will stop Taneb from swinging across his turn. We've got 2 great win conditions in the hand. We do have Overwhelming Stampede and Coat of Arms. Now, the downside to Coat of Arms is that it is a global style artifact. So each creature gets +1/+1 for each of the creatures that shares at least 1 creature type. So when you're playing against a Dragon Tribal deck, Coat of Arms all of a sudden doesn't really become that good. So we got to watch out for that one. You know, if our opponent's tapped out and they don't really have a lot of ways to block us, they may not see a Coat of Arms coming. We can get that down, get a few more birds going. And the fun thing about Coat of Arms is that even though we only have like 3 birds that can swing in right now, simply just tapping out for Thieving Magpie is going to give us a really good, nice power and toughness bonus to some of our creatures to go and swing across on this one. But yeah, other than that, we'll kind of see what we're going to go for. We've got a ton of mana on the battlefield. We're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've got 10 mana. So if we wanted to, we could actually go Coat of Arms into Overwhelming Stampede, but we'll see if that's going to be enough, if that'll be lethal on that one, but we'll see what's happening. All right, opponent's going to go for Annette the Dreamer. Let's see if we can't get some swings in our opponent. Even if they do swing in with Taneb, we do have protection from black and green. Hopefully they still go ahead and force the issue with swinging across. That way it'll free up another flyer to swing across, but other than that, we'll have 3 birds swinging across, and then yeah, we'll see. One of the fun things that you can do with Overwhelming Stampede, so a lot of these birds, whenever dragon you control attacks against double strike until end of turn. Okay, so that's going to be a pretty good chunk. Pretty good board state our opponent's got assembled over there. It's got birds versus dragons. I'm really hopefully we can pull this one out. But with Overwhelming Stampede, what you can do is put Sword of Feast and Famine on the Tatyova. That's going to make it a 5/5. That's going to give everybody else 5/5. So that's another way to kind of increase that power and toughness bonus. Okay, and the good thing about Sword of Feast and Famine is that we're able to, like, I just love, this is what makes Magic fun sometimes. You think about this little Spire Owl just flying past all these dragons who are too scared to block it. Let's go and go for Flooded Strand. Let's get that card draw going. In response to that, let's go and crack and then draw an additional card. Let's go and get the island onto the battlefield. It's going to be another card draw, another life gain, draw into Tireless Tracker, and then what else do we draw into? Draw into another island. So let's see, how do we want to sequence this turn? Let's go for Distant Melody. Let's get some card draw going. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's go for card draw. It's going to be 1, 2, 3. Because I just don't know if we're going to have enough damage between Overwhelming Stampede to really push past all those big dragons. So let's just rip it. We need to draw into something like Cyclonic Rift. Yeah, that's going to be a big difference on this one. Let's get down Distant Melody. And what we can do is we can dump a lot of stuff this turn. And on the back end, we're going to choose Bird on this one. I draw into Sword of Fire and Ice, and we actually draw into Counterspell. Alright, I think I like that. Let's go and get down Sword of Fire and Ice. That way it kind of helps complicate some of these, our opponents getting these creatures out there. That's going to be 1, 2, and then 3. We're going to get the Scry going off of this Artificer's Assistant. And Rampant Growth, let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Get down Sword of Fire and Ice. Let's go and equip it onto one of our creatures. Or do you want to get Thieving Magpie down? Yeah, let's do that. Whenever it deals, yeah, because we need to get as many birds as possible. And that's going to be double blue. And that's going to give us some good protection with that drawing into that counter. So we'll get down Thieving Magpie. Let's go and swing in with the, yeah, because we've got protection across the board. So we're going to swing in with Spire Owl. It's going to attack our opponent's hand again, and we're going to be able to untap all of our lands. Okay, so we're going to get the Coastal Piracy trigger, yes, we're going to use that ability, draw a card, and we're also going to have this Sword of Feast and Famine trigger, draw an additional card, untapping our lands and making them discard a card. Okay, and then let's go ahead and get down Augury Owl. I think that sounds good. We're going to get the Scry 3 coming off of that. Let's do that. Let's go for Augury Owl. It's going to be additional creature on the battlefield for that bird next turn. Get the Scry 3. At this point right now, we're just looking for a bird, once again, to kind of complement the coat of arms. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and get down. Let's go Thran Dynamo. Put it on the bottom. Let's go for Command Tower. Put that on the bottom. We're going to put Sage Aven on top of our library. Let's go ahead and get the Sword of Fire and Ice onto one of our creatures. Go ahead and put it onto Thieving Magpie. That's going to be 1, 2. And then we need to go ahead and leave up a Counterspell on this one. All right, so we're going to get Thieving Magpie on there. And then we need to go ahead and shift the Sword of Feast and Famine onto River. And that'll leave up Counterspell. There we go. Perfect. All right, so that way we do have a couple blockers, and then anything else we're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. So with Sword of Fire and Ice out there, that's at least going to stop a net from swinging across or something like Tadeb. If a Tarka wants to come across, we can take a 27 hit. Let's go and get rid of Island at this point right now, and we'll go and get rid of, in case something kind of funny happens, we'll hold on to Ghost Quarter. So basically right now is, even though a Tarka is going to give a lot of these creatures double strike, they're dragons, what we can still block is Sword of Feast and Famine, and Sword of Fire and Ice is going to be able to kind of clear the board for us. And then also at the same time, we're looking at Overwhelming Stampede next turn. That's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's going to be about 25 points of bird, roughly on the coat of arms. And then at the same time, we're going to have that Overwhelming Stampede. So depending on how we kind of sequence some of these swords of blank and blank onto our creatures, we're going to be able to maybe give them an additional power and toughness bonus across on that one. Now, depending on also what they tap out for the turn, we still have Counterspell in the hand. So if something kind of crucial happens, we can at least stop that from happening. And then at the same time, another good option for us is going to be something like Cyclonic Rip. That's going to be something that's going to send everything back to our opponent's hand, and it's going to allow us to finally kind of tap out for a big overkill spell. Okay, opponent's going to go for Hellkite. Yeah, let's go and go for Counterspell on that one. That's not going to be that good if they keep getting more dragons onto the battlefield. We're going to go for Counterspell. Thankfully, our opponent doesn't have a Cavern of Souls out there. And we'll take care of that one, and then we'll go and pass the turn. We'll see if our opponent's going to swing in. I think they'll still be able to. All right, not going to swing in from our opponent. And then we draw into Sage Aven. Let's go ahead and go for that. Look at the top 4 cards, put them back in any order. Yeah, I think I like that. Let's go for Sage Aven. That's going to be 1, 2, 3. Tap up for 1 more green. Actually, let's sequence that one just a little bit differently. Tap up for 1 blue, and then 1, 2 off the colorless mana. So we're going to be able to look at the top 4 cards of our library, put them back in any order, and we'll still be able to make the land drop for the turn. Aven Envoy, Field of Ruin, Raven Familiar. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go. Let's put the Scalding Tarn back on top, Raven Familiar, Field of Ruin. We'll put Aven Envoy on top of our library. Let's go and get down to Ghost Quarter. We'll be able to draw an additional card. Draw into that Aven Envoy. So at this point right now, we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to be 7 coming across. They're not going to have Trample. Let's go and get down Aven Envoy. And let's do this. Let's go ahead and go for Kodama's Reach. Yeah, let's get down Tireless Tracker. And this may seem like a little bit overkill. I may have the game on this one, but yeah, I just want to make sure we have more than enough birds on the battlefield to push past some of these dragon creatures out here. Let's go for Kodama's Reach. Let's grab Forest, and let's go and grab Island. It's going to be 2 more card draw off that one. Put that on the battlefield. 1 goes into the hand. We're going to get that Clue token off Tireless Tracker. And we'll draw an additional card, drawn to Pongify. Okay, that's actually really good. Pongify really kind of helps clear the board on this one. Let's go ahead and push across with River. And that does have flying. Yeah, it does. All right, we're going to swing across for 3. We're going to deal that last damage to our opponent. Then next turn, with us having Pongify, Overwhelming Stampede, Coat of Arms, that's really going to clear the way for us to kind of go for a final alpha swing. One of the things that, and I'll kind of explain what's going. Yeah, we'll draw on that additional card, draw on the Simic Signet. They're going to have to discard an additional card, and then we'll still have Pongify online. One of the things that's kind of hard to do recording-wise is you get to these kind of board states to where it looks like you can kind of swing in, but if you just, like, if I throw the entire kitchen sink at our opponent and we miscalculate something, it's not a fun feeling. I don't like that feeling. So kind of being a little bit, I guess, cautious on this one, I should say. Let's go and tap out for 1 more. Let's get the Scry going off Artificer's Assistant. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. And then do we need to get the Signet down just to have extra mana for next turn? It's going to be 1, 2. Get an additional Scry off that one. Terramorphic Expanse. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Get on Simic Signet, and then anything else. We're going to go and pass the turn to our opponent. Actually, let's go and put the Sword of Feast and Famine onto another one of our flying creatures. Now we're going to put it on the Aven Envoy. That's going to be 1, 2. Okay, there we go. All right, let's get that over there, and that way we still have some more protection. All right, we're going to go and pass the turn. So we have more than enough mana next turn to tap out for Coat of Arms. We've got finally a really nice bird creature count on the battlefield. We did draw into Pongify. It's going to allow us to kind of blast one of our opponent's dragons, so we can get that off the battlefield. And then once we go for Coat of Arms and then Overwhelming Stampede, that should be more than enough to kind of take care of it. One of the hard things with Coat of Arms, it gets +1/+1 for each creature type that shares at least one creature type with it. So like a Goblin Warrior or Goblin Shaman, and I know these are all birds at this point right now, but there's a few of them that, well, excuse me, these are all birds as I look at them. A few of them are like bird wizards and bird soldiers, and it's just kind of hard sometimes to make sure you have exact lethal at the same time when you're delivering commentary. All right, opponent's going to get down Savage Vent Maul. Whenever it attacks, add double red or triple red and triple green to your mana pool. Get that elemental bond trigger going. All right, opponent's going to pass turn. See if they're going to swing in on anything on this one. And at this point right now, if they do end up swinging in, with us having so much life gain, all right, they get the whole crew swing in. Target creature gains double strike. So that will be 12 coming across. What we'll end up doing is we'll simply just kind of throw a couple of these different sort of blank and blank in front of that, and we still have Pongify to go for. So, all right, it's going to gain double strike. Let's see how we need to divvy up some of these blockers. They only have 1 card in the hand, too, so we're just going to be as minimal with this as possible. Let's go for Thieving Magpie, protection from red and blue. Let's go and put that in front of Intet, and let's go and put the Aven Envoy in front of Teneb the Harvester. We don't need those extra dragons on the battlefield. Double strike, that's going to be 12 coming across and 2 from the Dragon Speaker. I guess if we wanted to, we could send Tireless Tracker in front of the Dragon Speaker. You're okay with that one? Yeah, all right, we'll go for that. And that'll be simply 12 coming across for next turn. All right, there we go. Put us down to 23. It's going to trade on the Dragon Speaker and the Tireless Tracker. And that should free us up next turn to go for Coat of Arms, and then also leave up Pongify to take care of that Savage Vent Maul. All right, so we got Life Crafter. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Draw into Hydromorph Gulf. Let's go and get the Forest down. Let's get that card draw going. There we go. And then we'll be able to get down, and that's one of the fun things about these birds is you can return creatures back to their hand. Let's go and go for Coat of Arms, and we'll actually sequence it to where we get down Coat of Arms first, because that's going to give us a bigger Overwhelming Stampede. That's going to be 1, 2. Get the Scry going. Let's go and put that on the bottom for right now. Let's go for Overwhelming Stampede. Oh, look at that. And actually, now that I think about it, we probably could have closed it out a little bit quicker if I would have gotten down Coat of Arms and then gone for Overwhelming Stampede with that trample damage. But yeah, it's just, like I said, it's one of those things where Coat of Arms, making sure we have enough lethal on the board while delivering commentary. I don't want to ever get to the point where we have a game where it looks like we're going to win, and then I just miscalculate something and we get our opponent down to like 1 or 2, and then they swing on the back end and take the game from us. That's always a really big fear of mine. So it's kind of me just playing a little bit more cautious. But yeah, you can see we're going to get down Overwhelming Stampede. In fact, let me pull the game back up. Okay, so it won't let me get to the end for some reason, but it got us all the way to this point. But anyway, we had Coat of Arms coming down. That's going to be at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 times 7. We're looking at about plus 49 coming across, and then the Overwhelming Stampede. So we're looking at almost at about 100 points of damage coming across, but for some reason the replay stops right here. But yeah, now that I think about it, what happened was I think Overwhelming Stampede in my head, I didn't realize that we probably could have got down Coat of Arms and then got down Overwhelming Stampede, and that would have really kind of give us a really good power and toughness bonus. We probably could have pushed past them on this one. I think I was thinking of Overrun, where its creatures get +3/+3, and I think that's kind of what complicated my thinking. So we probably could have got the win a little bit sooner in the game, but we were playing a little bit cautious, and it's always fun to kind of get some good Sword of Feast, Famine action coming. But anyways, if you enjoyed your time at the Bird Show, like everybody else, like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.